When are you going to learn the art of listening and the art of understanding? If you grow in your reading habits, a lot has to be eliminated in order to understand the essence. You should read in such a manner that you will be able to sift the essence from the non-essence and focus your mind on the essence. Unless this process is done, you will simply be a glutton, that's all. Nothing more. See, the God of religion, the self of spirituality, and the reality of philosophy, ultimate reality of philosophy. But I don't know whether it has registered in your minds. Because people often wonder, sometimes raise questions, Swamiji, I am a seeker of truth. I have only thought about the self. There was no God at all. God is an assessment from a religious and devotional angle. The ultimate reality is again another postulate from the level of philosophy. Analyze a subject rationally, systematically, and trying to present the subject in a systematic manner. You can have a philosophy of everything, philosophy of eating, philosophy of dressing, philosophy of standing. Whenever any subject is analyzed rationally, the desirable and the undesirable, then it becomes philosophical analysis. Any subject can be taken up for that. A book called Srimad Bhagavatam. It is an authority on devotion. It analyzes the subject of devotion. Naturally, God is the subject or object of devotion. Everyone is devotion is God. In whichever manner you conceive of it. So Srimad Bhagavatam discusses God on the one hand, devotion on the other, and devotee also. In that analysis, Srimad Bhagavatam brings all the spirituality, all the philosophy, and all the yoga. People speak of yoga and they take to asanas and pranayamas. Actually, the yoga has nothing to do with pranayama and asana. The entire Bhagavad Gita is a yogic shastra. What is meant by yoga? The art and process of uniting. What will you unite with what? What is it that you have to unite? Are you going to unite your body with something? Is it ever possible? And after uniting, you will find what is united will no more be present. Can such a yoga be had in the physical level by any means? You are submitting the body to different poses, using the limbs of the body themselves. It's a wonderful science that our body and body's limbs can be manipulated in such a manner that we have hundreds of asanas. It's a wonderful science by itself. So we call them yoga asanas. Exercises are fast, aerobic exercises, etc. Here it is called yoga asana. What is the meaning? In every pose, you have to be still. Poses are different, but you have to be still and poised in that pose. For how long? They say for 3 breaths. Breaths, not 3 counts. Now, when anybody takes to yogasanas, mudras, etc., automatically his attention will be driven to mind. Because every yogasana is acting upon the mind. You have to count when you take exercises. When you start counting, your mind becomes centric, concentric. It cannot be running about, as you say. So yogasanas and yoga mudras, etc., certainly make a man look into within and get into the real yoga. What is real yoga? Yogaha chitta vritti nirodhaha, says Patanjali. Yoga is restraining and unifying the modifications of the mind, modifications of the intelligence. So unless you get into your mind and you are able to handle the mental functions, it can never be yoga at all. And when you start applying the principle of uniting, what happens? The thought will be united with the thinking process. The thinking process will be united with the thinker. And the thinker will be united with the thinking substance. So all the three will disappear. Thought will disappear, thinking will disappear, thinker will disappear, and you will only have a sovereign and ultimate presence. This is yoga. Nothing short of it. In fact, all experiences are born of the mind. They subsist on the mind. Yoga also is a word. It represents an idea. Because it is an idea, it relates to the mind and intelligence. How can it relate to the body? So in the West, particularly they say yoga, yoga, yoga. What is this yoga? You can say, I take yogasana. I take yogani. That's not. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, right in the beginning, the beautiful narrator Sudha presents himself a proposition. And what is the background? There was an assembly of people in his front. The assembly consisted of simple and innocent devotees, lovers of God. Devotees of God. There were scholars. There were austere Brahmins. A number of ascetics, sannyasins, maharshis, all of them. They put a question to him. The narrator Sudha was a very great and honorable person, always. His knowledge is paramount, unparalleled. Brahmins used to respect him very much. Sudha himself was not a full-fledged Brahmin. So his knowledge is very tremendous. They are narrators. So the assembly said, "Oh, respected Sudha, narrator, you have read Vedas, Idihasas, Smritis, the Vedic literature, then the epic literature, then the mythological texts, and so many other allied texts. Your knowledge is very paramount, comprehensive, and supreme. Will you please let us know the essence of all that you have learnt?" Mark my sentences. Will you please tell us the essence of all that you have learnt, the essence of all these texts? With no doubt he replied, "Vadanti tat tattvavidaha tattvam yajnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti shabdyate." I wish the whole world knows this. Tattvavidaha, people who are experts in analyzing their experiences, perceptions, evaluations, and ideologies. Tattvavidaha. Those people say, he doesn't say, I am saying. The great knowers of truth say, Tattvam yajnanam advayam. I think you should borrow ears and listen to me. Tattvam yat jnanam advaya. There is a tattva. What is that? Advaya jnana. Advaya means non-dual. Jnana means knowledge. Knowledge which does not give any scope for making divisions and differentiations. Normally, whatever knowledge we have is knowledge of objects, and objects are manifold. Therefore, our jnana is also divided. Now, this is a jnana which doesn't give any scope for dividing at all. So, all the object and knowledge of the object totally dissolves. There is no object at all. Where is the question of dividing then? So there is something called non-dual knowledge. That non-dual knowledge is the supreme truth. It is this non-dual knowledge that is spoken of as Brahmedi, Paramatmedi. It is spoken of as Brahman in Vedanta, Paramatma in spirituality, Bhagavan in religion and devotion. Today you get over the idea that God is different, truth is different, Brahman is different, Atman is different. No, they are all the same synonyms. And what are they referring to? Are they referring to substances? None of them is a substance. But ideas cannot be perceived. Concepts cannot be perceived. Infinity is an idea. Zero is an idea. It refers to nothing. Can it ever be perceived? So it only remains as an understanding. That word is an idea, it is a unit of understanding. So Brahman is actually that knowledge which never allows any kind of a division or differentiation. When you take to meditation and meditational absorption, what happens? All the thought processes become initially lesser and lesser, lighter and lighter, thinner and thinner, subtler and subtler, slower and slower. Ultimately, they cease. When they cease, they are. The thinking dissolves into a no thinkingness. That is the source from which all thoughts are springing. So it becomes the very source. In that source level, there is no difference. And then what has become the source? That which you thinker. All these are ideas. These ideas dissolved, so to say, giving rise to a source, their very source. So where is the difference? Krishna speaks about, I was existing ever, I will continue to exist, so too you were, you will, Bhishma, Drona and others were and will. So in the absolute manner he referred. The same Krishna starts speaking later as I, the Supreme Reality, I, the Great Lord. In both cases he was referring to the same I. There is no difference. It is a question of, can you identify yourself with the I, the Supreme Reality in you? Some are able to do it. Some are unable to do it. We are explaining the subtlety of our Shastras. While explaining, somehow our lineage, our parampara, our guru, I have always seen him as doing nothing. He will sit like this. This is the supreme state. Now we have known it, understood it, seen it, heard it. So the fire that we have, it cannot be extinguished by anybody. So why are you confusing matters? Swamiji, I can understand the self and the I, but I will never understand God. Why should you not understand? God is only an epithet, a synonym of the self. What is I? That is the self. What is self? That is God. And what is God? That is Brahman. Brahmedi Paramatmedi Bhagavan iti shabdyate. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, always therefore you will find whenever they refer to God, instantly they will follow it by the term the self. Guru Devatatma, Krishna says. Consider Guru to be Devata, God, and Atma, your own self. Guru is the Supreme God as well as your own self. Regard him like that and then be by his side. This is also he is saying. So though it is Srimad Bhagavatam, a devotional text, you will find the supreme philosophy discussed there in a palatable manner. Every time coupling it, associating it with beautiful devotional propositions. Listen to a sloka which Krishna says when he met a few rishis, possibly in Samanta Panchaka. When the rishis came, they adored Krishna. We are very happy that we have seen you. We are all purified. Krishna acknowledges and tells them back, Nahyamayani tirthani, na deva mrchilamaya, te punandi urukalena, darshana deva sadhavaha. Where can you find such a statement? He says, purifying things like holy places, tirthas. Tirtha means a water, either a lake, still water or flowing water. So, Nahyamayani tirthani. All the holy tirthas are not in the nature of water. The watery tirthas are not purifying at all. Na deva mrchilamaya. Gods and goddesses made out of clay, stone, wood. They are not godly at all. Why? Te punandi urukalena. They were, when you worship them, who worships? You worship. How long? For a long time. 12, 15, 24, 30, 50, 60 years. When you worship them for such a long time, you get some purity. So the purity comes from them or comes from your own worship? Huh? When will you understand this? You are worshipping. You are calling it God. Worship is designed by you. You are worshipper. And the object also is selected and decorated by you. Where is any effort here from God's side? It's all human effort. So when you worship them, urukalena, by a long time worship you get some purity. On the other hand, darshana deva sadhava. Holy and wise people, when you meet them, they say, Harihi, Harihi, Harihi Om Das. They look at you. Their look is purifying. Their words are sublimating, holifying. Their touch is even more so. This is what Srimad Bhagavatam says. So what is the text? Is it a religious text? Is it ever mentioned and analyzed things like, any text analyzes things like this? Te punandyuruka alena darshana deva sadhava. Srimad Bhagavatam also says what? This world constantly produces threefold misery. Adhyatmik, Adhidevik, Adhibhaudik. These miseries can be wiped off only by the knowledge of truth. Vedyam vastavam atra vastu shivadam tapatrayon moolanam. In the whole of Srimad Bhagavatam, the vastava, the supreme truth, is to be known, because that alone will be able to wipe off the threefold miseries of the world. So what is the message of Bhagavad Gita? The subject dealt with. The subject dealt with is truth. 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 If God becomes truth, He is there. If God is not truth, He has no place anywhere. We don't know God, but we do know the truth. Because the truth is present constantly in the periods of past, present and future. And there is only one truth like this. It is the I. It was there in the past. It is now in the present. It will be present tomorrow and day after tomorrow also. Search anywhere in the world. You will never find anything changeless. So, remove from your mind all thoughts of difference. The I represents the self. The self itself is denoted as God. The same self is denoted as Brahman. All are the same. Never raise a question on this subject. If you raise, I will drive you away from the ashram. When are you going to understand and grasp matters when they are presented? Swamiji, I can understand self, but not God. People are still saying, have we ever told you not to be religious? We analyze the concept of religion. We explain. It is something explained using the tool of intelligence to make it accessible to your intelligence. So it is a discussion in the level of intelligence, and we will discuss everything. We will discuss God, we will discuss religion, we will discuss philosophy, we will discuss yoga, everything is subject to discussion. Krishna has brought a number of subjects during his warfield dialogue. What I am saying is, it is a warfield dialogue and not a religious dialogue. He may discuss religion as part of the conversation if Arjuna needed it. Let me stop. Harihi Om Tas. Harihi Om Tas. Jai Guru. Jai Guru.